Damn, Ingenious made the beat?
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I'm, of course, your host, the Prince of Positivity, Coach Steve. Join with me, as always, my co-pilot, Coach Luna, the Dime Dropper. How we doing, brother?
Bless, man. Men's Mental Health Month. Didn't even know that was a thing, but I love hearing a lot of stuff that I'm seeing on social media. Josh last week, giving us good gems. But yeah, man, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed.
Definitely. Shout out Coach Josh giving us a twofer, right? Part one and part two. Definitely appreciate him joining the pod, doing double time on the pod for us right now. CEO, founder of Coach Life Podcast brand, Coach Wash. How we doing, Brody?
Doing great, man. Doing great. So just progressing and moving forward and following him,
You know it. Progressing and blessing. That's what you guys been doing. Love. I'm definitely been seeing. You're correct. Definitely got some bars here every once in a while. Definitely been seeing the training that you guys have been doing for Coach Life training, and then Coach Luna, your linebacker academy training. You guys are kicking ass right now. I'm just seeing these training videos. I'm gonna have to book me a flight to come down to Houston for a little bit. Get wore out for a little bit. But I don't know about this heat though, because you guys' heat index has been a little ridiculous down there.
Man, it only make you stronger,
Oh yeah, you're right. But that's different. The Chicago heat and Houston heat is very different heat.
Oh yeah. The humidity is a whole nother level. It might be 89, feel like 110.
Yeah. No. I'll go play in the snow, bro. I don't have no problem playing in the cold. None. Y'all keep that heat.
Nah, I'm from the cold, bro, but preference.
Nope, you've been down there too long, bro.
No, I've been down here long enough. I ain't been it ain't been too long. I'm good on that.
I feel you. But you definitely gonna come back up here. You're probably gonna need a jacket when it's 65 out.
Nah, I can still thug that out.
Okay. We'll see.
I'm all purpose now when it comes to weather. I'm good.
Cool. Luna, you gonna be able to thug it out in the snow?
Absolutely not.
He been up north in the winter before.
Appreciate you being honest with yourself.
He went to a football game, right? Cold football game.
Plenty. I'm good.
Where were y'all at?
We were in Buffalo.
Buffalo, that's what I thought. Yeah. That Hawk.
Yeah. No. You can keep all of that. You went to a Bills game?
Mm-hmm.
When? In the wintertime?
Mm-hmm.
On purpose?
Yeah.
Okay.
The crazy thing is, it's really fall. It's not even winter yet. That's still
exactly
fall. The football season still is the fall. That's not even the worst of it.
That's the sad part. Part. Well, transitioning, guys. Let's I know we talked about a number of different things. And usually I'm pretty good about making a swift transition over to our topic based on what we talked about. This one I'm having a little bit of trouble, partly because this is one of those topics that kind of affects every aspect of your growth, growing up as a child, becoming an adult, and how you moving now. Luna, you brought up earlier that this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's funny because our topic for today is how did our trauma damage today's youth? Man. Seems like it has a very healthy tie into mental health.
Very much
Because
so.
trauma still affect us.
It still affect us, which affects our youth when we don't check us. Not only do if we not checking ourselves and wrecking ourselves, we wrecking our little ones. So
True. Very true. First off, for those again, I know we can dissect this in a number of different ways, but I want to start with some of the basics, right? When we talk about trauma, we talk about again that emotional response of distressing type events, abuse, neglect, violence, what have you, right? Trauma can come from, can be individual or it could be collective, right? You've seen it in both facets. We've all seen it in both facets, especially being football coaches. We got a chance to talk to a lot of kids that have gone through a lot of trauma and still going through a lot of trauma in their households. We understand again that trauma is definitely something that's passed down from mother, father, sisters, brothers, nieces, nephews, cousins, aunts, whatever, uncles, whatever the case may be. Again, it can be a generational curse. There's a number of mechanisms that actually, contribute to having these traumas, right? Your behavioral modeling, again, trying to, idolizing people, looking up to people. Somebody made a post online I was looking at that says something about how we greet each other in the Black community, like saying like, what's up, pimp? What's up, player? And he's saying that to little, like, to young kids, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like, what does that do mentally to a child? Like, what is their mentality to go to when they hear those type of patterns or those type of, that type of wording or cadence, right?
Yeah, it's just programming at that point. Naturally, we don't really think about it. We don't think twice about it. We just doing what we do and doing what's happening around us. One thing before we even dive deep into this, I want to point out, because most people assume trauma is extreme situations where it doesn't have, it's individualized really. Because think about the word traumatize. It's how you receive and process a situation. I know some people that are traumatized by the fact that they got whoopings, and I look at whoopings like they're nothing.
Right.
And I ain't talking about beatings. I'm not talking about like what I would consider abuse, like a belt to the ass.
That's normal.
That's normal to me. That was normal where we grew up. You know what I'm saying? As long as it didn't turn into something that was like extreme, or you getting punched and stuff now, but like whippings were normal,
And whippings from multiple people was normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't just mom, dad, grandma, everybody had the green light that was in the village. Neighbors, everybody had the green light. But outside of that, some people traumatized just from simple things. Like, I didn't like having to do so many chores. They traumatized by how much work they were made to do at home. And I'm bringing this up because now I'm seeing people saying like, I don't want my kids to have to do those things because it traumatized them as individuals. It's something they didn't like doing. It's equivalent to the person that didn't make it that far in a sport growing up. Now their father is training the hell out of their child to try to get them to the league and live through them. It's the same thing. It's like, you're not raising your child to be an individual and giving them just the basic guide and blueprint to be an adult, flourish, and be a good human being. You now are carrying over the things that affected you negatively and putting it into your child. So I did want to point that out. It may not even necessarily be something that may be the worst thing in the world to some people, as far as like, getting bullied and things like that. It could be something that simple, really, as, man, I had to do everything growing up. It's just a matter of how you built and how you receive those things.
I want to circle back on that too, because you bring up a really good point. Trauma doesn't have to be negative also. Again, like you said, it doesn't have to necessarily be negative. perfect example. Another good example that we could bring up, and all of us are cut from that same cloth. We grew up in a neighborhood that probably wasn't the safest neighborhood, right? Probably made decisions that you were like, you know what, I see my friends doing this. I see they friends doing this. I don't want to go those routes. I don't want to do those things. I see the outcome. Again, you could be traumatized by what happened to somebody else, and that just spins you to change your whole perspective. My whole life now has changed because I don't want to be like that person. I'll give you a personal story. I'll give you a personal story. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I'm going to. When I was probably like I had to be no more than less than 10 years old. I had to be about 8, 9 years old. I remember this like it was yesterday. I was riding my bike, and if anybody, again, I grew up on the west side of Chicago. L Town. If you know K Town, L Town is next door. So all the streets start with L. If you don't know L Town, but where I grew up, I was able to ride my bike 6 houses. There was a 6-house ride that I can make. We were the second house off the corner. Of course, I can ride to the house on the corner because it's right there. But I can go 6 houses down. That's about as far as down as I can go down the street, and then turn my bike around. I wasn't allowed to ride in the street. I wasn't allowed to ride on the other side of the street, and I wasn't allowed to ride in the alleyway. It was literally, I had to be on the front porch, 6 houses on a Huffy, going back and forth. I remember this day, this nice bright summer day. I went outside, saw one of my friends, and he was like, "Hey man, let's go in the alley. Let's go ride in the alley. Like, my mom gone, your mom in the back. Let's go ride in the back." Okay, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Let's just go ride in the back real quick. It's nice. All the kids out. Everything's cool. We get in the back. We start riding down the alleyway, and literally the 3rd house down from our house, in the garbage can, there's a man folded up in the garbage can. You see an arm hanging out the garbage can, and you see his legs hanging out. Now, of course, my buddy's curious. I'm curious. Why is there a person inside of a garbage can? Right? 8, 9 years old. I'm not thinking that I'm seeing a dead body for the first time. But apparently this is my friends multiple times seeing something like this. You see drug addicts strung out on the corner and stuff like that. So some of these guys probably could be dead. Well, he went over and looked. It was a dead body. Sure as shit. That had a very big effect on me at that point. It's like I'd never seen a dead body close. My mom probably don't even know about this story, which she gonna be listening. She's pretty sure she's gonna be like, "Why didn't you tell me?" But that had a really big effect on me as a kid. But it was almost kind of like, oh, a body. Keep riding. Like, really didn't dawn on me at that point in time, like what I had just saw, until much later on as I was growing up. Like, that should have really shook me. But because we've seen people getting shot, we've been on the block where they were shooting. You've seen a lot of these different type of situations. That numbs you. That seriously numbs you. But then also makes me say, the other side of it, the positive side of it, was like, I don't want to be in this environment. I don't want to be one of these people. I don't want to do these things. So I need to just start making better decisions and start doing something that's going to progress me and not keep me here. So that positivity, that traumatic experience had a positive outcome out of it. So when we talk about trauma in a general sense, you understand that there's going to be some traumatic experiences that may have happened in your life that have shaped you to move in a different direction that actually was in a positive direction, as opposed to the traumatic experience that held you back. So I also want to make sure that we kind of dived into that piece of it as well.
Oh, absolutely. That's
That,
very important. Yeah. Go
that's
ahead,
E
Lou.
plus R equals O. That's your event plus your response equals your
Hmm.
outcome.
Yep.
Hmm.
Um, the thing with happens with trauma, and the topic that we're talking about, how it affects today's youth. I think the thing that is the biggest piece of that is us as adults. We talk about emotional intelligence,
Hmm.
but when it comes to our trauma, it's as simple as uh, being real with ourselves, forgiving who or what may have been that may have caused whatever that trauma may be, um, and sincerely move on and understand that um, you don't have to be labeled for your trauma. You don't have to identify and be recognized as what you've been through.
Hmm.
Use what you've been through as a testimony to help others. I'll comfortably tell people nowadays, because I've forgiven him. You know, I haven't seen my dad since I was 4 years old. You know what I'm saying? My dad went to prison. I was told one thing and found out another thing. You could say, from a legal standpoint, I was kidnapped when I was a child. Okay, these things happened to me. Like, I was gone for days, weeks, where nobody knew where I was. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, I've gone through those things. 30 plus years without seeing my dad. Like, I can comfortably say these things because I have went through it, and I know kids that are feeling that same way because dad may not be there, or dad just chose not to be there. That's not your fault. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, that person is your dad, and just because he's an older individual does not make him mean that he's emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence gives him that opportunity to find a way to contact you and call you and apologize to you 14 years later, 15 years later, like he did me.
Hmm.
And when I heard his voice on the other phone, on the other side of that line, communicating and telling me he was sorry, I heard the sincereness. I heard the sincerity. And in my heart of hearts, initially, I didn't understand what it meant to be forgiving, how to give
Hmm.
forgiveness. I didn't understand that. So I always held this resentment in my heart, bro, to the point where, like, I'm named, I have the exact same name as him. You know what I'm saying? And in my brain, bro, I'm just like, man, like, I know why my mom was so tough on me when I was making bonehead decisions as a child. When my first time getting suspended was in the third grade, the next time getting suspended was in the sixth grade. Like, I was already starting to show those hot headedness things that led my dad to get in trouble, right? And I see why she was very hard on me, and I didn't understand that until I became more emotionally intelligent. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And the thing is, with all that, like I said, you don't have to consume yourself with what you've been through. Find a way to use that fuel, because there's fire there. There's fuel. When you have that anger, that's energy, no matter what it is.
Hmm.
That anger, that resentment, that sadness, all that is energy. And it has to be used somehow. Transform the energy and use it as fuel. You know what I'm saying? I used that. My dad didn't. From my understanding, I don't know if my dad went and got a college degree. So what did I do? I went to go get a college degree. I know my mom did. So what did I do with that? I went and got a master's. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went and did. I've been doing things to challenge myself so that I can be the best version of myself, to continue to prove and show that, bro, no matter what you've been through, that's not who you do not have to identify with that. Like, as cliche as it sounds, like, suck it up. It's not that easy, but like I said, there's energy in that sadness. There's energy in that pain. There's energy in all those other emotions. use it another way. Find it. Find that peace. Find that inner peace. Search it. Yearn for it. Like, go dig and find it. It's out there. You know what I'm saying? You do not have to consume yourself with that pain, bro. Like, there's so many things that I could have folded my tent so many times. I could have decided to go that route if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? There's so many chances and things that I just like, no, that's not okay. You know what I'm saying? People could talk about first time with guns, bro. My first time having a gun pointed at me was when I was like 11 or 12 by a border patrol agent, of all people, the law enforcement. So how did that affect me going on for the rest of my life? I did not respect law enforcement to the point where if law enforcement showed up, I already had like this innate feeling in me because I'm like, bro, y'all pulled a gun on me when I was a child because y'all thought we jumped the border. We're in dry clothes. We're right next to the Rio Grande. We're with our uncle. Y'all pulled a gun on us. Y'all didn't even ask if we were American citizens first. Y'all said, get on the ground and pointed your gun at us. 2 children and a bro, we're kids. He could have literally killed us and we would have been boom.
For but what? That experience right there, that experience again, and that's something that a lot of kids end up seeing. And then you have that stigma where kids don't respect, like you said, they don't respect authority, they don't respect police. This is my first experience. What are your expectations for me at this point? Especially when I don't have a good enough foundation or the emotional intelligence to kind of understand what's going on at that time, right? So what are you really expecting?
See, and coach, and this is the thing when it comes to emotional intelligence. I think emotional intelligence also is like it's under the umbrella of having people that have gone through things tell these things. Because if no one is able to identify with what you have gone through, it's hard for that person to wrap their head around what they're going through to say that, oh man, you don't know what I've been through.
Yeah,
like, bro, you don't know, bro. You can't feel what I feel. You don't know what I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. Nah, there's plenty of people out here that's been gone through a lot of things that decided not to go ahead and use that as an excuse to be angry at the world, to be angry at the next person, be angry at everybody. That does not give you that green light to do that.
But is it easy?
Absolutely not.
No. I'm gonna challenge you on this one, Luna, because I think it is easy for them to do that. It is for people.
I thought you said, is it easy to learn how to be?
Oh no. I'm saying no. You're right. That is not easy. But I'm saying in the sense, like, is it easy for them to just take that route of, well, that's what happened, so that's the route that I'm gonna go?
Yes, it's easy because it's non-challenging. Because it's the most innate form of human response is to do the first thing that we feel is going to make that relief, because that's what they call shotgun decisions. What do shotguns do? You go ahead and you shoot a shotgun. How them bullets, is it gonna go one way or is it gonna spray the whole thing?
Everywhere?
It's gonna hit the whole block, right? It's gonna cause damage and it's gonna clear this whole thing out. That's how shotgun decisions do too. That's why they call them shotgun decisions, because you did not go ahead and think this process all the way through. How is this shotgun response going to leave this room when I go ahead and respond this way? Because that's our natural ability. Is the first thing I'm gonna do is like, bro, you got me messed up. Like, it's either you gonna fold your tent, because I know I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Right. So here we go. Two emotionally unintelligent people, emotionally hurt people, combating each other. We meeting each other at the same exact place because you mad at something that I'm mad about, or vice versa. We got our own things that we battling, and today we just decided gonna be the day.
Yeah, and you know what it leads up to? It leads up to when you do finally get to a point where even if you can, you come into contact with somebody that can identify with what you've been through, that has some sense and they've healed, and they're talking to you. Now, aside from forgiving and letting go of whatever the situation was, Now you got to forgive and let go of all the shit you did in response to that. So
Mm.
now this is the most difficult part because somebody that made sense to you and you can't tell them they don't understand if they didn't gave you the same story, if not worse, and they've overcome it. Now the battle of people being like, I done so much now. How do I come back from this? How do I become a butterfly? You know what I'm saying? How do I go through this transformation at this point? And the easiest thing, like you said, the easiest thing to do is to continue down that hole until you end yourself. You put yourself, you know, in a detrimental position where you can't come back at all.
Coach, you know what? That reference of the butterfly that just hit me, bro. Do you think the caterpillar goes through life crawling around for as long as it's crawling around, just thinking like, man, I can't wait to be a butterfly? Or does it live in that moment of being that caterpillar to understand that in my delayed gratification of everything that I'm going to go through, I'm going to be this butterfly. And then once I am this butterfly, I'm going to get to live free.
Yeah.
You're going to have to go through that process. You got to go through that delayed gratification. You're going to be that caterpillar for that little segment of time.
So you're saying to enjoy
that butterfly going to get there. You just have to understand where you're at and be okay with that. You're that caterpillar.
You so you're saying you got to enjoy the journey is what you're saying essentially.
You have to. You can't. Coach, and this is on my heart heavy. You cannot let your situation consume you to the point where you are like I said earlier, you identify with the negative traits of whatever the situation may be. You got to learn and know that there's positivity and there's something good at the end of that tunnel. You know, that same tunnel I talked to you about earlier. You know what I'm saying? There's tunnels, darkness. Anybody that's ever been in a dark cave or anything like that, if you've ever been if there was an opening on the other side and you've seen that little half of light and you look back and there's complete darkness, which way are you going to go? You're going to go towards the light, okay? Correct? Because I need to get out of here. It's darkness.
Absolutely.
I have to go to that light. That's the same thing that with all of us in life. Follow the light. Go to that light. Don't be in the places where that darkness is getting fed. You know, it goes back to what, you know, I felt this earlier. It was like, bro, you are going to be consumed by the fire you decide to give life to. You know what I'm saying? Neither fire is going to die. That little voice is never going to just completely go away. The big voice is never going to just completely go away. But which one are you going to feed? Which one are you going to go ahead and give that oxygen to so that fire can build back up? You know, and that's the consumption of all decisions in every situation that we go through is having to know what area am I fanning when this comes to me.
Yeah, you got to stop going towards the usual suspects, man. At some point, I talked about this before, I said you just got to change your mind. Today is the day, and you just reposted that. Today is the day. You know what I'm saying? So we can do what we do around us all the time, but referencing even a prior episode with Coach Josh on there, he made a good point. We was talking about, you know, how do you find these solid people to be around and be in your life to help build you up? How do you find good brothers? How do you find good relationships? You know, whether dating, whatever. It's like you can't keep going to the club. You can't keep, you know what I'm saying? We know what's happening here. These type of people are usually not healed people that they're escaping. They're running from something. Where do you go? You know, Luna says I'm like coffee shop. You know, church, whatever the case, go somewhere that ain't normal. Go take a walk out in the wilderness or something. Go take a run somewhere. And there's less people there because there's only a handful of people that's found some good ways to get through things. You know what I'm saying? Instead of burning kush, drop your knees at the burning bush. You know what I'm saying? You gotta find a different route. And after you do that, now we still talking about like personal healing, but back to the generational thing as far as what we passing down to our young ones, I want to get into these responses now. So why is the newer generation soft as Q-tip cotton today? That's the question we got to answer. Why they soft as Charmin? Now,
Coach, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think every generation is an accumulation of the generation before.
yeah,
So what I think is currently happening is those, I don't know what generation currently is raising the Gen Zs and all this other stuff,
ours.
but there's that lingering effect of all the generations before, like your boomers, for example. Your boomers are selfish. Let's just keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? They just want to take all the money and keep it for themselves and say, hey, United States, the rest of y'all, Social Security,
Y'all figure it out.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all figure it out.
Yep.
So are neither here nor there. But those are things that every generation, bro, is just constantly learning and relearning. Like it's crazy how this topic is what we're talking about. And I had this thought earlier. It might have been yesterday. My family, bro, I'm firstborn from my mom. You know what I'm saying? Firstborn here. My mom is from Honduras. My dad is from Mexico. You know what I'm saying? My sister was born in Honduras. I was the first one born here out of my immediate family. And growing up, bro, there was so much stuff like American customs and American ways of doing things, bro, that I just never knew. And my mom didn't know either. My dad, and when my stepdad came into my life, he was from Mexico too. You know what I'm saying? So we're a family that has moved here, learning the ways and trying to keep up and trying to see these things. And it comes down to, I don't know, I wouldn't realistically call that trauma, but it's that seeing what's going on, seeing like, bro, it takes time to get used to what's going on out here to a point where it could be emotionally draining. Trying to, man, I see that median household income for these types of people is this much, and then shit, first generation, boom, here I am, like, God dang, like I'm supposed to be making that much? Like, y'all got that much money in y'all's family lineage? Like, what is a trust? What is what is all these things? Like, I'm learning about all these things as I'm growing up as an adult. And I'm having to go ahead and teach members of the family the same thing. That's why I be so fired up when I learn these things and I tell people, and then people be like, man, you late. Bro, I almost take offense to that because I'm like, how am I late? Because you've been knowing this and you ain't tell me.
And you ain't sharing it.
And you ain't sharing.
Gatekeeping.
Yep.
Like, why is that okay? Why do you think that's okay? What satisfaction do you get of holding everything for yourself? And you claim to believe in what you believe in. Show me what part of the book that is. To hoard everything for yourself. Show me what part of the book.
That's the baby boomer
character
part.
that did that and how that worked out for them.
Yo, that's baby boomers and cultural. For some reason, it's cool. It's become cool to know something.
It's become cool to shit on people that don't know because I do know.
Rather than sharing game.
Everybody wants to feel exclusive. Everybody wants to be exclusive. Everybody wants to be special. Everybody wants to be unique.
But what does it really do for you?
It does nothing. It does nothing.
Self-gratification. What you talking about? I feel good.
Do you?
I feel good.
You think you feel good? You putting that mask
on. Or the
on.
mask of I'm feeling good, right?
Your mask of I'm feeling good because somebody's beneath me.
Right.
I felt low. Now I don't feel as low because there's someone lower than me.
100%. A big portion of that has to do with that power, right? Yeah. You feel empowered. You feel empowered. Great. I'm glad you feel empowered.
Selfish.
What again? Exactly. What does that now do for everybody else? If the answer is I don't care about everybody else, okay, that's your first problem. That's your first problem. You
know what's crazy, Coach? There's science behind this stuff that emotional stuff and social stuff is passed through DNA and genetics. So you're an offspring of exactly what your mom and your dad may have been going through the time that you were conceived.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my mom,
Absolutely.
it's crazy. My mom has told me plenty of times as an adult that I was just like my dad, a man that I had not seen and did not grow up with. But I'm in a lot of my responses and how I would, my natural way of wanting to respond to things, she would say, yeah, you act just like your dad. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how is that possible? How can you say I act like someone that I didn't even grow up with?
It's like your body is producing your seeds constantly, and
But
that's replicating who you are to
because
Consistently.
down to that degree to
but you know
emotions and
that just brings validity to what I don't care what y'all want to say. Y'all can cancel me if y'all want to. What the Old Testament says about your lineage will be cursed. Your this, like generation upon generation upon generation. Like,
Generational
hey,
curses. Yep.
that is.
It's
Don't believe
real.
it if you don't want to. I challenge every single one of you.
yeah.
Why are there things of how you act with your parents? You only were with your parents for a certain amount of years as adolescents. As an adult, aunt act just like grandma, sister act just like mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are those things? Because it is in you. You know what I'm saying? So those characteristics that you may see in your parents that you kind of look at as red flags or cautionate about, understand that behavior or habit or whatever the case may be, it's already in you. It's whether or not you decide that you can identify it and be like, no, I'm not going to let that be a thing. It could be substance abuse. It could be whatever the case may be.
Man.
It's in you.
Yeah.
It's in you. It's, again, which part are you going to add fuel to the fire?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's you as an individual deciding whether you going to, even if you identify these things, you hear that from your mom, you deciding whether or not, now that you're self-aware, you now can truly make a choice to say like, nah, we can't keep doing that shit.
Yeah, coach. And it was, and the thing was, it was in a lot of the times it was in like negative moments of like where I would, my stubbornness and the way I would want to respond to like certain things. And it's just like you said, you can identify it and you can sit back and recognize it and be like, damn, I don't want to be those, I don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of my mom's biggest fears was when I would go out all the time because, again, bro, you've gone through it, you've given forgiveness, you can say these things, and I'm a very honest person, bro. My mom's brother, got poisoned at a bar before I was born, and my dad was, before he went to prison, he was constantly out all the time, drinking and with his friends and doing all those things. And when my mom was seeing that same trend with me, she was getting on me about my habits without saying too much, but just be careful. This just real subtle because she knew exactly who I was, as how I respond to things because I'm stubborn. And you'll be like, nah, here we go. Same thing with my wife. Because I've exposed all these things to her, so she knows.
Yeah.
So again, I be careful. You know what this can lead to. You know what's in you. And I'm like, I got to that point where I almost, when I talked to y'all offline, and it was one of those things that I was just like, bro, yeah, I got to get this under control, because as much as I think I can control it, every time I've tried to control it, it ultimately controls me every single time.
I'm glad you brought that up because I want to drop some stats that I saw recently on this. Because when we started talking about again how trauma affects today's youth, like some of this stuff is like this is just alarming. Like why do kids have to deal with stuff like this? Like now, again, they dealt with this before. It's just more prevalent now because there's so much more access to everything right now. We live in the generation of abundance now, where everything is there now. So a lot of stuff that we didn't see when we were kids, like our kids are seeing this stuff now. Like they're seeing it and much sooner. So again, some of those effects, again, higher rates of anxiety, depression, PTSD, difficulty with emotional regulation and attachment issues. And the biggest one that I saw was, again, what you just pointed out, Coach Luna, was increased risk of substance abuse and self-harm. Like these are all coping mechanisms that we start, throwing in place because we don't know how to navigate through these feelings and through these traumas, and nobody's ever had to navigate us through it. So the best way that some of those individuals had to navigate through it, they masked it with some other form of enjoyment. They indulged some other kind of way where they hit the bottle, they got got drugs, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think, well, there's more exposure to, there's just different avenues of the exposure. I think we were exposed to this stuff in real life. The dangerous part of the exposure now is that there's a desensitized exposure to it. Now, we got desensitized due to repeated viewings of shit in real life. Now,
physically seeing it, right?
Yeah. I can't put body shootings, I can't put it on one hand.
Right.
That's before 10.
Right.
And so now it's like when you look at Call of Duty, you play your games online, and then you see even like real news and you hear about somebody dying, and everything is like on what's supposed to be entertainment channels. Even the real life stuff can start to mesh. So now it's easier for these kids to just be like, not care, be just zoned out and not really understand like the reality of the things going on around them. And so I think they go into things now with a lot less caution because of the lack of understanding of the effects of these things. And then because of the technology too, a lot of parents are indulging in the technology, so the talks are not happening like they used to. Like you said, Luna, them talks ain't happening. It ain't a lot of mamas like your mama. It ain't a lot of mamas like our mamas having them conversations anymore to like check shit that they seeing early on. Like a lot of stuff is being missed. A lot of people don't know what's happening with their kids at all. It's always going to be stuff you don't know happening with your children. But like, I think it's even worse now in regards to them not knowing, because now it's like you got to monitor the device, and if you're not monitoring the device, you don't know what they tapped into on their YouTube channels that they follow. You don't know what they tapped into on TikTok. You don't know who they following and watching.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's so much more happening under the cover, and like we said, we talk about the parents. I wanted to get to the point where parents are like, I want my kids to have what I didn't have. I'm like, it's to a fault though. There's a reason why you strong, because you had to fight for the shit. Or you were forced to work more for it. Now you just handing them stuff, no explanation, and the stuff we giving them. Cell phones, I held out as long as I could before I gave my kids a cell phone. I didn't care who had one. It was a minute. Like you had to be to the point where like you weren't gonna be around me. And even then I was like, the only reason I'm like falling into new school now, because payphones ain't everywhere like they used to be. So the show would be like, keep some quarters on you, just go to a payphone. That ain't a thing no more.
Yeah, true enough.
But other than that, it's like, yo, you giving them things that can be harmful, and you not having any conversations. There's no guidance.
Because and this is gonna add on to your point. I have a theory, and this is, kind of goes back to the theory that we had when we kind of had touched on this topic, but we didn't go with the route with trauma. We were just identifying things with today's youth and the parents, right? I believe that like social media and all these things probably reopened old wounds for a lot of these adults. What I mean by that is that comparison trap started happening again. Man, I remember so and so from blah blah blah. Let me see how they do. How they living. Oh, or you see the one girl that you or dude or whoever whoever you may compare yourself to or maybe looking at a certain way with envious, and now you have consumed yourself with
back on the radar.
Yeah, like you're trying to compare, and now you're giving energy to this image of what you're trying to portray, and you're not taking care of home no more. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to, I've gotten into my 30s now, and I'm finally starting to step into a little money. Now I'm out all the time. But in my 20s, I wasn't doing all that because I ain't had the time, I ain't had the money, none of that. But now I gotta show people what I got. While your little one's still at the house, growing up. Your little one at the house, growing up right now, seeing all these things, and those results of that loneliness and the things that person, that kid can get into while you're not there is real. It's very real. I'm telling you, as a walking testament. I knew exactly how to get to certain channels in third grade. I knew what to do on that illegal cable box. I knew exactly what to do. In the third grade, I knew exactly how to get to those channels.
Even before then,
right? If you weren't shown, you figured it out by myself. I'll figure it out.
What does science say about early exposure to those things? It's the exact same thing that they would say as if a kid was exposed to drugs or alcohol at that of an age, of what it does to the brain, the chemical balance of dopamine, and how we look at things. When you look and see that at that age, and you do it constantly, you look at those things constantly at that age, and nobody knows.
So
here's something to the brain.
I'll use myself as a perfect example. A perfect example. When you're a kid and you, like you said, the illegal boxes, like, again, that's not foreign to any of us on this. We're going to try to find where we got the black box on. You try to find whatever you can find, right? Yep, right, exactly. Like it's a little fuzzy, but you can figure it out, right? Right? Again, as a shorty, and you watching, pornographic videos or music videos or people doing drugs or watching movies, like, again, when you was a shorty, how many times did you watch Juice? Did you watch Friday? Did you watch Crooklyn? Like, did you watch any of these shows or movies when you were a kid? If you did, and you saw the kids that were in the movies, or you saw people that weren't too far away from people that, like, you knew on the block, like, that just seemed like just like normal occurrences. Like, this is what it is, right? Personally, watching a lot of that stuff, I got a real jaded experience going into high school of what females are supposed to be doing, how relationships are supposed to be, what my expectations are supposed to be for a woman that I'm trying to date, right? That whole perspective is so messed up because of the preconditioning that you put yourself through prior to.
But another thing, why it's worse now. Well, I used to watch all the movies with my parents, but since I was watching it with them, conversations were had.
That's the difference.
Or mama was trying to cover your eyes during certain scenes, so now I know that
this ain't something for me.
Yeah, it's not appropriate.
So
you better not be doing that.
Yeah, man. And this is the next thing that, as adults, you got to be aware of. PG-13 movies ain't PG-13 no more.
Yeah, those are definitely rated R.
Some of them exist no more. Hell, the G movies for the parents.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and like I said, like, those are experiences that we can identify within ourselves, and we can look back because of emotional intelligence and me hearing someone else talk about that for them when that happened to them gave me that freedom to go ahead and say, you know what, I can identify with that. And this person, you know, beat that. You know what I'm saying? No longer has to identify with what kept me mentally handcuffed.
Yep.
Mentally and spiritually handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And physically too. You know, because your brain is warped and everywhere else but where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's just that, it's that, you know, what we talked about in here before, like that constant, you know, taking the weeds, checking for weeds every day, not once a week, like every single day. You know, and I know sometimes we can like carry on with feel like we're kind of like antagonizing people sometimes with what we're saying with a lot of things, but again, this is coach life. You know what I'm saying? This is something that we're not in it for no other reason but to help and to identify and hopefully provide insight and perspective in certain areas that people can come and listen and feel like, you know, I'm currently struggling or have been struggling, or, you know,
I'm dealing with the same thing.
Yeah,
right?
dealing with the same thing, or even just hearing a sidebar of what we may be conversating about. You know, don't take messages as a threat, as like something that is challenging you in a way to where it's trying to belittle you. You know, I said this before, where I said that treat intimidation like an invitation. If you're feeling it heavy on your spirit, as far as it feeling like a challenge, it is a challenge, but it's not me challenging you. It's your inner self. The best part of you, the best version of you, is yearning to come out, and it's literally knocking at the door, begging to come through. And it literally requires you to stop moving, look back, see and assess where you're at, damage or no damage, habits, good or bad, and identify which way I need to go. You know, it kind of reminds me of that Big Crit album art, where it's like this way, and it was all the darkness and all this.
Yep.
It's the album cover for It's Better This Way.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all this.
It's better this way.
It's better this way. And the whole message from that album, not to go too far left, it was awesome. Side notes. But if anybody wants to listen to that, go ahead. But it's literally better that way. Living in gratitude, choosing happiness, doing things that actually make you happy, not having to wear that mask all the time, being honest with yourself, being honest with other people. It opens the doors for those things that you're yearning for. It's hard to be trustworthy to people when you don't trust people. It's hard to find trustworthy people if I'm not trusting. It's hard for me to find love if I'm not loving. It's hard for me to find people that'll fill my cup if I'm not filling other people's cups. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard for that to happen. And it's hard. Here's the other thing. Remember, I talked about learn how to receive. It's hard for me to receive people pouring into my cup if I'm not, one, pouring into other people's cup, and I'm not putting my hand out for people to give me gratitude or to give me thanks. I close the door on that every single time. Learn how to accept the compliment. Learn how to accept certain things. And I'm preaching to myself right now because, you know, I've been having people, like I said last week, tell me like, hey, bro, you motivating me. I'm like, nah, bro, you motivated yourself. You know, and in a sense, I'm like, nah, you know what? I appreciate you saying that I motivated you, but in the grand scheme of things, all I did was identify that same little voice that was knocking on the doors in my spirit and in my heart is the same thing that's currently calling you. And as long as you continue to work, make those changes, You don't have to start a podcast or do anything
Right.
drastic like this. But when you start speaking different and you start moving different, you start hearing things different, and you start, getting into certain rooms and having certain relationships with people, doors open that you never thought would open.
Mm-hmm.
Never. I promise you. Like, no, the constant things that happen on a daily, bro, it's just like God is good. Even when
Every
things are
day.
bad, bro, even when things are bad, God is good. I've had to learn. I've had to learn countless amount of times because now, my wife said this yesterday, and it's just stuck with me all day. It's like I had to learn as a married man that my decisions don't just affect me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that perspective and you add layers upon that, whether you're a father, whether you're a sister, whether you're a cousin, whether you're whatever your
Whether
title may
you're a
be,
coach.
whether you're a coach, doesn't matter. Your decisions affect more than just you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be aware. You have to be intentional, is the word she kept using.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to be intentional with that energy and
Mm-hmm.
putting that energy in places where it's fruitful and where it can be accepted. It can be normalized.
Right.
Like I told Wash, man, I legitimately, like, I was super happy. I was elated when we had this conversation, but we went into the sauna wasn't open, so we sat and talked for like an hour, bro. And I was just like, bro, I'm glad I'm able to find out I'm not crazy. That the standard of what I believe how people should be and things that are now normalized are not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to actually think this way. And without even all of us having to talk all the time, we're all speaking a common language because of a certain standard that
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to abide by.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to read the same thing Coach Wash read. None of us have to read the same things, but there's a standard that we know that we have to abide by.
Right.
And, that's a comforting feeling in a place where when you've been healing and currently still healing, it's comforting to know that you're not alone. But again,
Yeah.
Coach, that goes into that communication piece. You're only as alone and as by yourself as you choose to be. You're only as bad or as good as you choose to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Where are
It
we going?
says something about community and having that strong community around you.
Because there's a reason why there's those same words, community and communication.
Community.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's
And unity.
something there. There is no
Mm-hmm.
community without communication. There is no
Mm-hmm.
communication without community. Who I'm gonna talk to? Myself? How did that work out for the past 33 years?
Believe the unity word means to unite, right? Okay.
Unity within community.
Exactly.
UNITY.
I wanna go back to something that you said earlier, Coach Luna. You had made a comment of again, that little voice in your head, like when somebody says something to you, like those people that get mad. I want to address those people that get mad really quick. When
that was me.
Right. Luna, that's all of us, right? That was all of us at one point in time. Somebody say something to you again, and I want everyone that's listening to this pod, I want you to hear this really quick. Has there been a time where someone told you something? Oh, you shouldn't do it like that. You should do it like this. Oh, don't do that. That's a bad idea. You should probably do this. Oh man, why are you doing that? That don't make sense. Do this. Oh, you know what I started doing? I started doing this and it started doing this for me. You should probably start doing that. How many times have you heard something to that degree? Doesn't have to be those exact words, but something to that degree where somebody told you something or tried to put you on or try to give you some advice. And you said, maybe in these exact words, how you going to tell me? Why are you telling me? I don't need to follow this. I don't need to know this. Why are you giving me this unsolicited advice? If you are really quick at bringing that up in your head, that's a very clear indication you are thinking the exact same thing. You just haven't acted on any of those things. You're not mad at the person for bringing that information up to you. You're mad at the fact that you haven't done anything about it in the beginning. You're the issue. You're the true issue. And you know you're the issue, but you want to push that off on somebody else because it's easier to say, I'm going to be mad at Luna because Luna said this to me and I'm not ready to accept it. That sounds like a personal problem. You have to learn how to be accepting to those things. You have to start listening to that own little voice in your own head, because if you don't start listening to that little voice in your head, that little voice start talking to everybody else and start telling everybody else your problems, and then they gonna start telling you what you need to do about it. And are you really gonna listen at that point, or it's just gonna be another person telling you something that we're not gonna move on?
Sounds something like work. So,
man,
to sum it up, all the stuff that's worth it is hard, baby. You just got to do it.
Absolutely.
Ain't nothing worth it easy. If it's too easy, it ain't coming from the right spirit.
So what you're saying is there got to be a strategy to for prevention and support. You got to build resiliency. You got to be able to foster strong, supportive relationships with people that are like-minded, right? You also need to make sure that you start like teaching coping skills and being emotional and intelligent, right? Have some emotional literacy about what you're going through right now. Understand your own emotions.
Coach, like also, like you said, with the community part, it also comes down to saying like, hey, why can't I have these type of conversations with my friends?
Man.
Out of your friends.
Why can't you? Why can't you have a serious conversation about life and certain philosophies and challenging things about, things that are going on in your life? Why can't y'all share that? Y'all call yourself brothers and sisters.
Right.
You not share private stuff about, hey man, like I'm going through it. Okay. Do you not have those conversations with it? Or
and if you do share it,
we just gonna party all the time? Is that
right? Because I don't want to hear the negative stuff.
Is that the level of our relationship? Is that the mountain peak? Is just like, man, we just party all the time.
But when you do share it, or when that person does share that information with you to get you to see something different, how is it received, right? Are you upset when they tell you? Do you feel kind of like, who are they to tell me? Are you disregarding everything that they say and immediately going back to what Coach Luna said? It was, man, we supposed to be partying. You ain't supposed to be chopping me down. Again, it goes back to something we talked about earlier in some of our previous pods, the support group versus the challenge group. That support group going to tell you what you want to hear all day long because they want to keep you where you at. That challenge group is going to tell you stuff that's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to make you move a little bit. You land in your bed and there's an uncomfortable spot in the bed. You're not finna just lay there the whole time, right? You're going to move. You're going to move. You're going to make a move. So I think, again, it goes back to, like you said, just understanding what your needs are and building the community, the unity around what you need to get yourself to that next level. Before we close out, I kind of want to touch on really quick, like some of the things that, outside of just building that community, what are some other things that you guys have seen or have heard from other people on making that transition for themselves, like actually dealing with their own self-trauma? Like, what are some other things or some other, either activities or conversations that you guys have seen that has made it easier for somebody else to kind of get through that trauma?
I'm gonna put it like this, bro. Those of us that are in a better place mentally,
Mm-hmm.
spiritually, or physically. Bring light to anyone that is having the courage to expose themselves that way.
Mm.
Because all of us know that taking that step of vulnerability, one is it's not easy at all,
Mm-hmm.
and two, it's not greatly accepted. Uh, because now that misery loves company, those people are losing
Mm-hmm.
company. They're losing
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
company now. They're
Right.
losing. They're losing people that are like, nah, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
dang it, he figured it out.
Right.
They don't
He
even
not
know
here
that
on
they're
this
that.
level with me.
They don't even know that they're that way because they haven't dealt with themselves yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But now I'm like, dang, bro, man, he changing, or this person changed, she changed, or
Mm-hmm.
what is wrong with wanting the best for your life to try to bring an end? We all talk about ending generational curses and all these other things. Everybody, that's a cool thing to say. It's a great concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that means that there's habits and there's things that in your life that you're having to fix. Because again, what did we talk about? That goes into your DNA. That goes into the next generation, feeds into the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. What are we currently doing that's going to end these generational curses that we speak of? You know, when are we going to finally have a full family get raised in a family lineage? When is the fathers going to consistently be in the lives? You know what I'm saying? You're like, when are we going to actually live longer than 62 or whatever the age
Mm-hmm.
may be of the oldest person that's lived in certain families? When are we going to end this generational constant of obesity, whatever the case may be? When are we going to end this constant cycle of substance abuse?
Mm-hmm.
Again, it goes back to what we talked about. Be the change that you're seeking. Like if you literally love the people as much as you say that you love them, and you love the ones that you have lost as much as you love them, what better way to show your appreciation than to say, I'm going to be the best version that I can be so that I can show you what courage can do for you. When you decide you want to start believing in yourself, because I'm not superficial, I'm not a superstar, I'm not Superman. I'm the same person that was right here with you in the same exact crap, feeling the exact same way you feel right now. I was that exact same person. At some point, I chose to no longer feel that way. Got tired of wearing that. Got tired of feeling that. It weighed on me. And you could do the exact same thing. You don't have to identify with what you've been through. You don't have to consume yourself. That's not part of who you are. You're better than that.
Mm-hmm.
So be that. And people, believe it or not, people believe more in you than you think. People haven't seen you take that step of courage to know whether or not you're in that headspace to accept that extra level of push. I know that you're great, but you're still doing all these other things. Like I told you, bro, like in January, when my partner hit me, bro, and was like, Luna, like, fix yourself. Like you're better than that.
Mm-hmm.
You've been making progress. Like in my heart, I'm like, bro, okay, I feel like he's telling me I've made progress. I can't take these steps back. I can't go back into this habit that I thought I could juggle two things. Like it's all in or all out.
It's even more prevalent when you have somebody that you care about their opinion. Their opinion means something that tells you those things. When it really does mean something, I don't want to disappoint now. I can't take those back steps now. I can't backslide now. Because if I do, I'm going to disappoint this person. And the funny part is, Coach, you may feel disappointing the person. That may be more detrimental to you than you disappointing yourself. For some people. For some of us, they don't care. Like you don't even care about your own feelings. So you're not going to care about somebody else's. But the people that actually do value your opinion, that actually, you do want their input, you don't want to fail them.
It's like what we said earlier, man. As you know, being emotionally aware also comes with the part of understanding that my decisions are bigger than the
Just me.
effect that it's gonna have on me.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Coach Wash.
We where we at right now?
What
should I be doing right now?
No, I don't need your bars yet. I don't need your bars yet. We ain't closing out everything just yet.
Okay. That's what I was trying to see.
I just want to make sure you don't have any last minute tap ins on this this insight that we just dropped. I mean, Luna's kind of dropped a lot on us right now.
You know, you always call me after Luna, so I really don't have anything to say.
The purse is dry right now.
The
change is all gone.
Auntie done emptied the purse. You know, all the peppermints are out, all the dimes.
You lost all them corners in that payphone, bro.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, just piggybacking off what y'all said. Yeah, you gotta have the right people, man. At the end of the day, and you know when you don't, and you have to start recognizing when you just fall to familiarity and just let go, and or know what to call them for. Even if you're gonna let certain people hang around, be the influence. If you know they're not in that headspace and you can't let go of them, lean on the people that are in the right headspace. And if you keep the other person around, don't follow them, make them follow you.
Right.
And make sure everybody that's right. Make sure everybody climbing the ladder, man. That's the biggest thing. No gatekeeping, and be receptive. You know what I'm saying? Don't get out of your feelings. You got to grow, and you gotta be open.
Yep. 100%, man. 100%. This was very, very, very enlightening and a really good topic especially for the month. Being that it is mental health month. Jesus. So yeah, we absolutely. I'm glad that we did touch on this, and glad that we went into some detail on this, because again, this is something that affects everybody. Everybody is dealing with trauma in some way, shape, or form. I saw a quote that said, and I can't remember exactly where it came from, but I remember the quote said, "Trauma is a fact of life. It doesn't, however, have to be a life sentence. You don't have to hold on to trauma. You can do something with your trauma in the positive sense. You can, like Coach Luna said, it's a choice, right? There is a better way." Shout out Big Crit. Definitely go hit that album up. That's a really good album, by the way. I think I might listen to that later on tonight. It's definitely some symbolism in that album. So, Coach Wash, you got a job to do, bro. Or else you're gonna give people trauma because you didn't do your job.
Yeah. You
what? Got something for us today?
I got a few. I'm there to do a few pieces. Couple shorts. All right. And it's just scattered bars. We'll do scattered bars right now, because they're relevant. Don't be that nigga. Don't be that nigga. There's a better way. Trauma got us moving through life, moving with mad triggers. Each time we get mad, we get shit mad bigger. Believing that this foolish ass act making us that nigga until you in prison for moving pats, and now you are that nigga. That's short snippet.
I feel like you should have put a part 2 on that one, bro. I feel like we could get another 6, 12 out of there. But hey, I digress.
You want me to start freestyling?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, bro. It's okay. It's okay. You got a show coming up soon.
Yeah, I'm about to say I that's not a problem.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I don't want you to end up starting to drop stuff that you're supposed to be dropping on the show.
So. Oh yeah. Boy, that's gonna be live, boy. Wait till you see the set. We going crazy. All right, so This next one. This some motivation. I done been through the fire, came out clean. Sitting in the dark, had to see what the light bring. Chilling with the devil, had a curse every sentence. I didn't want to go to hell. I didn't want that sentence. So I dropped to my knees for repentance. Knew if I tried, I could change in an instance. Things get bad and things get worse, but remember these words, book, chapter, verse.
Hey, hey. Yeah, this concert gonna be it's gonna be hot, bro.
And this one, the dream, I want to share this with everybody else. I shared it with y'all, but it's important since we talking about unity.
Mm.
And the other part, the Big Crit, actually made me think about this piece too, the album cover. So I said, fingerprint mine, ain't no other guy like mine. I'm in my own world. You'll never see my sunshine. I'm nipping its power, flowing deep in my bloodline. Seeing past, present, future glasses. Shit, thought I was blind. No, visionary. Brother, my vision scary. Saw your death in my dreams with a blind and deaf scream. Tried to reach down and help, but I was blinded by the memes. Couldn't talk to the people. They swag was on lean. So we can't form perfect union until you close those millions of teams.
Bars. Again, Q Bar in Darien, in Illinois. Not in Houston. Not in Houston. I want to send nobody off and have them go to Houston now. June 28th.
Flights cheap. Pull up.
Yes, flights are cheap. If you get
Tickets
Spirit
low too. I got promo codes.
Put a whole stick up your ass and fly. Yes, there is a promo code for $10 off at the door.
Yeah, I posted on my IG, Ingenious .music. So I posted on IG. I got codes. I got the links up too.
Mm-hmm. Again, shout out B Class. I know this is B Class big summer jam. His own personal summer jam, I guess you could say. Yeah. It's starting to become a habit over at the Q Bar, so they gotta start giving us a cut.
We over there for a reason. We'll just say that.
I understand.
It's
You're making business moves, boss. It's all good.
It's a good business situation. So
nothing wrong with that, bro. Nothing wrong with that at all. Again, definitely smack that like and subscribe button if you want to hear more from your Coach Life fam. Definitely a shout out AB, shout out John. Who else we need to shout out right now? Anybody else special we need to shout out?
Shout out
everybody.
What'd you say, Galuna?
Shout out to God. I'm triple blessed.
Oh yeah, man. There you go. All day, every day. All right. Again, if you want to hear more, smack that like and subscribe button. If you want to hear more from your podcast fam here. Again, as always, if you want to oh, by the way, merch sales going up still. Definitely want to make sure we shout that out because nothing wrong with getting some more merch on. So again, again, I don't have people that actually purchase but everything, but we know merch sales are going up. So keep on buying that merch. Again, it helps out the pod significantly, helps us continue to bring you the content that is helping at least one person. So again, definitely appreciate it. And again, as always, family, stay positive, my friends. We'll see you in the next one.